pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. John?
Here.
Carolyn? Here. Tom?
Here.
Bob?
Here.
Kathy?
Here. Do we want to move to open this now?
You would just need a motion to change the agenda item.
Make a motion to change the agenda item to opening the bids. Second.
So we're moving agenda item 6 to agenda item 3.
Someone second?
Yes, John did.
I have a motion and a second to move to agenda 3, the opening of the bids. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. Let's move it. So we'll do number 6 right now, road material and crack rolling bids.
Okay. Okay, this one was from Warden Enterprises, Atlantic Granite Quarry. Let's see.
Can you spell the name of the company? I didn't hear you.
W-O-R-D-E-N.
That would be Atlantic Granite Quarry,
Got
Ladick.
it. Okay.
Okay, and they have a cover sheet here. Allow us to introduce ourselves. We're Warden Enterprises located in Ringo, Wisconsin. We've been in business of excavating and landscaping for 17 years. Pride ourselves in providing high level of quality service to our customers. All operations of the Laddick Quarry located on Highway 153 in Mosinee are being transitions to U.S. existing quarry personnel will be employed in Warren Enterprises. We are working with Dave and Dale Laddick to maintain the service and delivery you are accustomed to receiving. A certified insurance is enclosed, the liability workers' comp. If there are any additional requirements, please let us know. Thank you for the opportunity to bid these services. Okay, decomposing granite, $8.29 per ton. 5/8 minus coarse base, $13.46 per ton. 1 1/4 minus coarse base, $12.96 per ton. 3/4 base, $12.96 per ton.
Can you read those again a little slower? My shorthand's not that.
I sure will.
Okay.
Decomposing granite, $8.29 per ton. 5/8 minus coarse base, $13.46 per ton. 1 1/4 minus coarse base, $12.96 per ton. 3/4 base, $12.96 per ton.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
What was the price on that last one?
$12.96 per ton. This is from Red Rock Granite. Okay. I have crushed DOT spec road base 3/4 dense or 1 1/4 dense, $12.88 per ton, excuse me. Screened decomposed granite, $8.93 per ton. Six-inch to zero dirty breaker rock, $11.53 per ton. Shell rock sand fill, pit run granite, $8.63 per ton.
Tom, on the crushed DOT road base, was that 5 1 1/4 and 3/4?
And or, yes, 3/4 and or 1 1/4, yes. And then thank you for considering Red Rock Granite Incorporated for your road material needs. And they also have certificates of insurance with that. This is Earth Inc. Okay. Decomposing granite, red granite, $9.35 per ton. Five-eighths minus, $10.15 per ton. Three-quarter minus, $9.70 per ton. Inch and a quarter minus, $9.45 per ton. Aggregate, gradation number 2 quantities, $9.60 per ton. Shell rock sand, $9 per ton. Then breaker, dirty, 6 to 8 inch, $8.52 per ton. And this is Bugar. We will deliver decomposing granite anywhere in the township for the township. Bid price, $9.05 per ton. Five-eighths to three-quarter minus and inch and a quarter minus gradation number 2. $8.25 per ton. Dirty breaker, 6 to 8 inch.
No.
$8.15 per ton.
That's awesome.
Crushed recycled blacktop, $13.75 per ton. And then their insurance. So those are the ones that we have for that material. Okay, so what's the actual process, and I can go down my list one by one?
One thing I was gonna maybe recommend is, should we open all the rest of them in case you have road materials mixed in, do you think?
Okay, well, the two that I have left are for crack sealing.
Uh-huh.
I can definitely open those to make sure.
Yeah, that way, if there is some other materials in there that they have, I mean, usually they don't, but. You can read that off. if you
Can
want
read it
to.
out right away? Okay, so this is for lakes, for crack sealing. And they have $1.51 per pound. And then they have a copy of the list of the roads that we had listed with that, and then their insurance also. And this is from Solutions. Okay, so what they have on here is proposal submitted to Town of McMillan for the year of 2022, price per pound, $1.25 per pound. That's for crack sealing. So those are those two. Okay, so those, let's see here, I do have. Okay, so this is one of those two envelopes that was here prior to you getting here.
Yes, and it was already opened, it was for salt. I don't know if that was part of the materials that was on the bid though.
No.
Okay.
Salt or sodium chloride.
I'm sorry, it's dust control, so.
For dust control, okay, okay. So I'll read that one off.
Calcium chloride.
Yep. So this is Wisconsin Salt and Solutions. We are pleased to submit the following quote for dust control solution. Let's see. Price includes delivery, application, and fuel charge. Calcium chloride 38% solution, unit price $1.22 per gallon.
Hold on just 1 second. I'm sorry for interrupting, but if we didn't request the bids,
This one we did,
we did, it was
Yes.
part of, okay, I just wanted to make sure, I'm
Yep.
sorry, go ahead.
Yep. okay?
38% solution,
38% solution, $1.22 per gallon. Okay, so that's that one. And then I have another quote here, and this one I don't think I'm gonna open. This is from Lakes. They looked at the parking lot up here, and they recommended that it be, was it just
Seal?
sealed? Okay. So, talking with Carolyn, we think that we'd like to get quotes, open it up to anybody else that would be interested, so I think I'll keep this sealed and give it back to the clerk. And then, at that time of getting the other quotes, we'll open them all together.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. So, do we have to get,
If you'd like to take a moment and go through it, if you think you can do it, we can take a moment and go through it so that we can vote on it tonight. I mean, otherwise you're gonna have to wait until next month.
I
Or not next month,
I
but
would like to vote on it tonight so that we can get stuff going and
take on one
township.
of it.
So, can I just do this on the side?
No,
Do you
just
have the
do it.
bid notice with you or no? If not, I can maybe try to.
I do,
So then we could just go down the bid notice.
that's what I was gonna do, go right down the line.
And then I have
Yep.
nothing else. Okay, so, well, so you wanna keep that then? I'll open it on here.
Okay.
So you have that copy.
So decomposing granite was the first one on the bid notice. Do we do these one at a time then, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then, I've got the price, I got the one, so do we vote on this then as a separate item each time? So
Yeah,
do I make a motion for this?
You can, you just need to make sure that the decomposing granite is the same. Like,
Okay,
the only one that I see different is there is one that read decomposing red granite. I don't know if that's different than the rest of them, but.
I can't answer that question, I don't know.
Decomposed granite is
Yeah.
decomposed granite.
That's what I thought, but
Yeah, we
I
just have
don't
to
know
take.
that.
It doesn't matter if it's red, or if
Okay.
it's pink,
Okay,
or if it's an orange brown, it's
As long as it's
decomposed
the
granite.
same, as long as it's the same material,
Yeah.
Okay.
so then you have to take the lowest price.
okay. So, I have the lowest price here, so do I make a motion to, okay, so Laddick Granite Quarry, their decomposing granite was $8.29 per ton. I make a motion that we accept their bid for decomposing granite for the year 2022.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to accept Laddick for the decomposing granite. Any further discussion?
So it's from Warden Enterprises, right?
Yes.
Yes.
No further discussion? Let's vote. Do you guys wanna do this, just INA?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you tell
I'll-
me who did the second?
I did, John.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay? Laddick's got, or what was it using me?
Warden Enterprises.
Warden Enterprises.
Okay, the next is base course spec 5/8 to 3/4 minus 1.25 inches. Okay. I make a motion to accept Paul Blugar's Trucking Incorporated price of $8.25 per ton for base course spec 5/8 to 3/4 and 1 1/4 minus gradation, number 2, for the year of 2022.
I'll second
A motion and a second to accept Bugard's for the, what was the material again?
5/8 to 3/4 minus and 1 1/4 minus gradation, number 2.
Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against? Nay? Bugard has that one.
Okay, the next one on the list is aggregate gradation number 2.
That should be all in your
In
base.
the other one, yes, with the shirt here with the base, and
We've already done that.
the, find out what we just voted on.
Well, that should all be in the
Anywhere
base
in the
course.
town, every state certified required.
It's a number 2
Right.
base, yes.
This is aggregate
And that's what-
gradation number 2, state certified.
Yeah, so that one should be in the other, in the one we just okayed.
Number 2 gradation base is 3/4
That
base.
is 3/4 base? Okay.
And you want it state spec, DOT grade?
I have written on here, state certification, yes,
Do you have
required,
the state certification on yours?
yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
So Paul, yours is state certified?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's covered.
mhm.
Okay. Shell rock sand,
I don't know what that is.
What was the intent of the usage of that?
What is it? I mean, I don't understand. what
if
that
we
is.
have to do some road repairs, it was an option that we could use the sand, possibly versus.
Shell rock and sand are two different things. I mean, it's kind
Correct.
of a mixture,
Right.
like a pit run type material.
Right, and on there, I wanna say that. Yeah, we didn't want, we wanted the bigger chunks with it, is what we were looking for, we didn't want like the crushed, super small stuff is what we were looking for.
Pit run, bony pit run.
We have a 3-inch minus material that would probably do the same thing, would be the same price as the 6-inch material.
Okay, so I have,
We tried calling you to clarify that today, but couldn't get a return call, so
okay.
we didn't get it at all, so.
Okay, sorry about that, I tried to get everybody's call back, I had a lot of them today, and I seriously did try. If I missed it, I apologize.
Yeah. So your 6-inch breaker run would be the best value for that material if you're gonna dig out. It's cheaper than the other two
We
products.
just wanted an option,
Yeah.
is basically is what it was, so that we didn't have to go back and do it, if we were gonna use it, do another month,
Yeah.
get the okay, we just tried to put everything in one. is what we tried.
Rethink it again.
Got it. Okay. So. Okay, so what you're saying is Dirty Breaker, is what you're saying would be comparable to what the sand is. Okay?
Correct. Yes.
So, right now I have one bid for Shell Rock Sand, and that's from Earth Inc. So I make a motion that I accept Earth Inc.'s Shell Rock Sand bid.
Hold on, you have 2 bids for Shell Rock.
Yeah, what about Red Rock?
Oh, I do,
Red Rock.
yes, I do, thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, 863, and I do apologize, because Red Rock did come in a little bit cheaper. Thank you for that. So Red Rock Granite, I make a motion that Red Rock Granite get the bid for Shell Rock Sand for the township for 2022.
And the amount is $863 per ton, right?
It's $863 per ton, yes.
Earth was 9.
Correct.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second to accept Red Rock's bid for Shell Rock Sand.
I'll second
I gave it
Bob seconded.
it. Oh, he did already. Okay, I didn't hear
Any
it.
further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Red Rock's got that one.
Okay. The next one on the list was Breaker, 6 to 8 inch. Excuse me, Dirty Breaker. Okay. I make a motion that Paul Bulgar Trucking Incorporated receive the bid for Dirty Breaker, 6 to 8 inch, at $8.15 per ton for the town of McMillan for 2022.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second for Paul Bugart's bid on Dirty Breaker at $8.15 per ton. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Bugart's got that one.
Okay, the next one on the list was dust inhibitor, calcium chloride, 38%.
What about with the crushed recycled blacktop?
We didn't ask for that one,
Oh,
so, but it's
Okay.
nice that we have that in there.
okay.
Did you get multiples of those?
That was the only one we
One.
received. Yeah. That's nice to know.
If it's not going to, if it's gonna be under a certain threshold, then you could accept it, otherwise you have to go out for bids and ask for bids.
What, do you remember what the threshold of that is?
5,000, either 5 or 25, I don't have my book with me. I think it's, you think it's a 25?
I do. I think it used to be 5, and that was changed.
No.
We received one bid for calcium chloride from Wisconsin Salt Solutions. I make a motion that we accept the bid from Wisconsin Salt Solutions for calcium chloride at $1.22 per gallon. For the township of McMillan for the year 2022.
I'll second that.
A motion, a second for dust control. What was the price on that again?
122 per gallon.
122 per gallon. Any further discussion on that? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Dust inhibitor goes to the
Okay, the next one on the list is crack filling. I received 2 bids. One from Lakes and one from Solutions.
Do you have certificates for both of those?
I have 1 certificate. I have Lakes certificate.
Hold on just one second.
Does Solutions have how many pounds they are putting down or anything like that, or a price?
They have a price per pound, but they don't have, let's see here.
$1.25 a pound. That's all we have.
What it looks like they did is they actually took the road list.
Mm.
It almost looked like they figured out what each road was gonna cost. I'm guessing. I mean, there's no totals,
Similar to Lincoln,
but it's, I mean, oh, there is, yep, the
Yeah.
very bottom one, okay,
yeah.
So- yep. So their price is $1.25 per pound is what they have.
And what's the total?
Hmm?
What's the total?
The total at the bottom of the page,
Yeah.
can I give that out?
Yeah, it's public record.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
they're-
well, I don't know if you would
No,
want
that's
that
a
out,
good
if we
question.
didn't get
That's
it.
a good question.
It's, I'm sorry, but
No, I
I'm new at
yeah.
this, so.
No, in the bid, you got it by pounds, so I guess.
And they do have it by pound.
Right,
Right.
yeah, but I mean, by pounds typically means how many pounds you're gonna use, which would be a total
Equate to a
price.
total.
Right. And they do have a total here, okay, so I will give that out. But I wanna do it this way first. Let me bring this into, I make a motion that we accept Solutions crack filling at $1.25 per pound, which they had a total of 35,673 for crack filling for the town of McMillan for 2022.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
I have a motion, a second to accept Solutions bid for crack sealing. Any further discussion?
Was there the other certification with that, with Solutions?
They do not have a
I just-
certification on here.
And I read the bid notice, it's just required if they're a successful bidder. I wanted to make sure it wasn't required with the bid.
Mm.
I read through that myself, yeah.
The Solutions a local company?
Yeah, they're over here.
I think they are over by like Menards over there.
Okay, I just.
They all
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on this one?
Mm.
Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Solution has that. Correct. Good.
thank you all for participating and giving quotes. We definitely do appreciate it. And those of you that have won the bid, I'll make contact with you just to follow up. Because I'm sure that I wasn't the most smooth person up here doing this. So, thanks for your patience.
Copy of the permit application for delivering in your township?
I was not able to get any printed off for you today. I know that
Okay.
you had asked. Like I say, we do have it on our website.
It is on the
It
website.
is on the website
And
under ordinances.
Now, every town road in the town of McMillan, does it have some type of a weight restriction or posting on it?
Pretty much all of them do, and we are.
Every one of them
I
does.
did talk to Tom, and I'm gonna get it to the rest of you guys also, and we're gonna try to get it on the website as soon as we can, so that you guys can be in your office and look at it and go, do I need a weight permit for that area, or I'm good? Because we're not gonna know when you're doing that stuff, and we're also not gonna know what the weight of your trucks are and stuff, you guys are gonna do that. So, and if this is not a change from anything that we've done, we're just gonna try to get information out to you guys better. And to get your permits, you can go on the website, fill it out, and then get it to our clerk, and then she'll get it sent to me, I'll get it signed, and I may send it back to her, or if it's really timely, I will email it right directly back to your office if you give me an email address.
So basically what you're doing is that any of your residents in the town, if they call at 8 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, I gotta have a load of granite, or I got concrete coming, I need to get more fill, I need something, we have to say, I'm sorry, we can't do that until we get a permit to come back to you.
And I have, and the thing, correct on that, and I've also tried to work the best that I can. I mean, if you can get me a day, 2 days in advance, it
A lot
really
of
makes.
times you don't have that.
I know you don't have that, but I work with you guys also on that to get you guys what you
Okay.
need for permits so that it's all done.
Do we also need a permit to run empty trucks through your township, or?
If you're not-
Absolutely.
You do on the roads that would be overweight, or it says no trucks on, yes. So if your truck is under the weight limit up for that road, then you can do it. But if it's
Yeah.
labeled no trucks, or if it's labeled with the weight limit, your truck goes over that weight limit, then yes.
Does Drake have a weight limit on it, or? Between 97 and C?
I'd have to look, I don't know for sure.
I'm too. but-
Right past,
So where it is.
right past the farm.
I don't know for sure, I don't have a memorized, that's why when you mentioned the map, I thought it was an excellent idea, because when you guys asked me, or different people asked me, and then I'd also have that information.
Cause we got chased off of there with empty trucks here a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't on this end of the job, so we just started to go around, and I thought that was really, 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 really odd.
Like I said, I don't know, I didn't think that one did, but I'm not sure, I'm not 100% on it, so I'm not gonna go either way with it.
And
What we're
Jack-
gonna try to do is get it digitally, so you can go online, and then we're gonna color code the roads,
Okay,
and that color code will coordinate with the weight.
so
So
basically,
It's easy, so you know if you're pink, green, and yellow, you're good to go.
okay, so you're basically looking for trip permits for every loaded truck that comes into your township to deliver to any of your residents, so that if anything happens to the road, or the neighbor down the road sees somebody come in with a loaded truck, they can call and say, hey, this guy busted up that part of the road over there, I saw him, did he have a permit? And then what are you gonna do? Are you gonna come back to the companies and say, hey, you were in there, you broke up the road, now you have to come and fix it?
We're gonna go out and we're gonna look at it, yes, we will. Yes, we will, yes. We have to. I mean, if the resident's calling and saying that the road is busted up, whether or not it was or not, I'm not
It
sure.
didn't have anything to do with the traffic that was on it for the last
Right.
20
I know what you're
years, but
saying.
if that truck went through and they see
I
it,
know what you're saying.
then that one gets blamed for it?
We're not here to blame,
Okay.
we're not here to.
We'll do the best
We're
we
looking-
can to comply.
Exactly, that's exactly what we're looking at.
The intent of it is new damage, it's not,
It is.
it's not the 20 years that piece of material is old.
Well, we get a lot of trucks trucks that are trying to take shortcuts to get around certain streets around Marshfield too.
With this, I can tell you, there's not gonna be any trucks wanting to take shortcuts or long cuts to get to your township, and your residents are gonna suffer for it.
You know, when I moved here 5 years ago and I built my shop, I had a lot of pains trying to get permits to get all the trucks in and build my shop.
We thought we had a long-standing relationship here with the town of McMillan, but when Pat called that day, he wasn't pleasant to the girls, and it really caught us off guard.
He wasn't what?
Pleasant,
Oh,
yeah. I don't think it was necessary.
What do you call about that?
And empty trucks around Drake. You need to listen to the
Pat was
conversation
gonna shoot
here.
you off.
Yeah, this,
were the weight limits on yet?
no, there was no weight limits.
Okay.
I was there and made the first 2 rounds with the guys, and there was nothing wrong with that road. And then I got called away to another project, and, I mean, you ain't gonna get any deliveries made in the town of McMillan if it's gonna start off like it did this spring here, so. And then there's, just like Scott just said, there's some pending here now. And I was hoping that this would come up here in the presence of the board, and we hit the nail right on the head now. So you people as a board better get it together, whether you want anything to happen in this township or not. Because until we get it together here and get the requirement of the paperwork, and whoever's gonna implement that 2 days before the delivery's gotta be made, I don't think it's gonna be acceptable. You're chasing everything out of this township. I don't know if you folks as a board give Pat the authority to do this, or what, but,
I'm not
we
even
ain't off
aware.
to a good start here in 2022, so.
So, Paul, what is it exactly? You're saying that, it takes too long to get the permit, or?
Well,
Or what?
we haven't applied for any permits yet, Carol, so I don't know what the process or the procedure's gonna be.
Oh, okay,
Whether it's a load of gravel or a load of lime into your farm customers,
yeah,
or whatever. I know exclusively, we spread for the Swensons here, and, you know, what do we have to do to service them people?
Or are you gonna put it on the residents to obtain their permits and provide the vendors with the permits
Yeah,
when we,
that's what you did.
That's what I had to do.
okay?
Yeah, it's a pain, but that's a process that has to be done.
Yeah.
So rather than put the onus on the vendor, then it goes
To the left.
on your resident who pays taxes in this township. So if anything happens to the road during the delivery, then the resident's responsible and not the deliverer.
It basically does go both ways. I mean, a lot of residents will get their own permits for you guys. The thing is the permit, I mean, should be within you guys' hands, because if the
They
state,
make email, you can email it and fax it.
because the way that it
Oh.
basically comes down to, we don't go out searching for you guys, we don't look for you guys. It's
Right.
basically, I mean, if the road's been pushed up or something's been done, because, I mean, 90 trucks went through it and turned the corner and peeled it up, then we may be happy
So-
to look at, come up with a resolution on it.
Yeah.
But normally it's 1 or 2 loads and the resident brings it in and,
Right. So basically what should be done, so that there's a protocol set, is that it should be the liability of the resident that comes to you, applies for the permit because they want to buy something from us and have it delivered.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then they supply us with the permit before we even load a truck and send it out here, via
Yeah.
email or fax or
Because-
whatever.
Because if you accept that load and you're on the road without that permit, you're gonna get the fine.
Right, we're gonna be liable. So it has to be on the resident, it can't be
Keep in
on us.
mind that the state trooper or the county cop, whoever it is, they're gonna fine you, not the landowner.
Right.
So the landowner
So-
has to get you the permit and it has to be in
So
the truck.
you need to make sure all your residents know that, and I know I'm gonna have a lot of unhappy people when my phone rings.
Because neither one of us are good at begging for forgiveness after the fact.
Yeah,
Can't blame you.
yeah. Well, I thought that was kind of what our protocol had
I would
been,
be better at it.
was, you
Yeah,
know, the
they're-
I get them both ways. I get them from you guys hauling, I get like Sternweiss, I'll get calls from him once in a while. I'll get calls from residents to get it for you guys.
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it both ways. I mean,
You know,
But a lot of it is a time issue, you know?
so I guess the other topic that we should talk a little bit about then is we do allow the septic haulers to have an annual permit. It's not a
Yeah.
per customer, it's an annual. Because they're doing a lot of business in the township because of all the septic tanks.
Well, the garbage trucks are also
Yeah,
same
they're-
thing,
They're all exempt.
yeah.
And so are the farmers. They have to have an
Yes.
annual permit. Why can't we?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think for the people that got the bids on here, maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
That gives them.
I mean, we're just trying to render a service and, you know,
You know, then
Is
we
there a
can put,
reason why
we
we
can put a
couldn't-
slip in every one of the trucks.
Is there a reason why we can't do that? I mean, you were
like
the chairman
some
of the
type
past
of an
meetings.
annual deal.
I don't know, I mean, we would have
I
I would
to
think that
be on, approved by the
It
board, but
needs
it'd
to be
have to be
on
on the agenda.
On the
But
agenda.
we have a town meeting
We need to
coming
put
up
that on the
in a
agenda
couple
for next
weeks,
month.
so, we could certainly, we can address that. Mhm.
That really is a great
Yeah.
idea.
When my office staff takes them calls and them orders, sometimes you only got an hour to get there. Cause if they need the material, as Scott said, under the concrete before the yellow truck comes, and, you know.
Yeah,
it's
it ain't
all
gonna
the time
happen if
takes
they
up.
gotta go through the process.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
hard enough doing their dispatching and doing their job without making sure that we're not in trouble when the truck gets there. Next year at this time, you're gonna have bid openings again, and, you're gonna have to walk through that door to get here, and, you don't need trouble.
And that could maybe be something that could go on the website too, to get that functioning, you know, that the landowner would be the one to get
I was
the
gonna say,
permit.
if you didn't do an annual, then maybe on the website, you can do like an electronic submission, and it comes in right away to a couple of different people, and then,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
well, as it sits right now, I'm the one that has to sign them, so.
But if you get, but if you get somebody that moves in here from out of town or out of state, they ain't gonna know to contact the town board. They ain't gonna know. And it's gonna be, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
And they ain't gonna know to look on the town website that
Right,
they're gonna need
exactly.
a permit. The only way I found out was through the county zoning when I wanted to get my permit for my building. He's like, well, you need to make sure you get a road permit.
oh,
Had he
yeah,
not said that, I probably wouldn't have known.
We have a two-way radio system within our company, and a lot of times when the girls are dispatching these trucks, and you listen to this, them forwarding the directions, and you can't wait until they get done to tell them, no, you can't go in that way, you gotta go a different way, or,
mhm,
you know, you can't go from here to there because the road don't cross the river, or something, you gotta listen to what's, being said, so.
Okay.
okay, very good.
Thank you for that.
Thank
We'll
you.
work on it.
We gotta continue to work together.
So you guys are going to work towards issuing annual permits for the vendors?
It'll be on the
That'll be
agenda.
on our agenda for the
Okay.
next board.
In the meantime, if anybody calls, we have to say, you gotta get us a permit,
Yep.
okay?
Mhm.
Until you get something.
Or
else
look at the
implemented.
roads,
Right.
you know, look at your roads,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
A lot of it's a common sense thing.
Or is it good enough that I just pick up the phone and call one of you and say, I've got a load I'm delivering to so-and-so, here's the route we're taking, I'm giving you notice.
Right
Is
now
that good enough?
Right now, it's in
No,
our ordinance that you have to have the
you-
permit,
Yeah,
so.
the ordinance says you have to have the permit in the truck or the state cop's gonna give you a fine.
That's just that if you get stopped
Yeah.
and you don't have that permit,
They know that they're.
he doesn't care if you call
That's
around.
why we need annual permits.
So we have the meeting in 2 weeks, so.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
all right,
thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, seriously.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night, thank you.
Let's go back up to number 3, visitors and public comments. Anybody have anything for us tonight? Okay. Approval of board minutes.
These
abstain from voting on the acceptance?
I'm happy to abstain.
Okay, so I see April 27th. Do we have copies of all of these minutes in here?
Mm-hmm. That's through the printer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do we have to group, or vote each one of these individually?
Yes, please.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the minutes for the April 19th meeting as presented.
I should have this one down, okay.
Somebody second it?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on April 19th minutes?
I think maybe these need to be, voted on for the next annual meeting.
Is this the annual meeting?
Is that the
Is that the
annual?
annual meeting?
Yeah.
The 19th.
Okay, so we need to hold on that one then?
Yep.
Okay. So I'll just put no action.
It's in my motion.
Moving on to April 23rd minutes.
I can't even find mine.
I make a motion that we approve April 23rd meeting minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve April 23rd, 2022's minutes. Any discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor of passing the minutes, approving them, say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Minutes approved. Moving on to April 27th, 2022's minutes.
I make a motion to approve the April 27, 2022 minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to approve April 27th, 2022's minutes. Any discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay. Minutes approved. unfinished business? Tanya?
Yeah, I just had a couple of things for this evening. I guess the first one would be on checks to approve. I just, I'm requesting approval for a $700 check for Hillers as a deposit for the tent for the fall festival. And I have received a quote from Hillers already, and the fire department is asking for a check for that. And I guess the urgency before the next board meeting is that they can't reserve it without a deposit. So I'm just looking for approval to do that, and I don't have any other checks tonight. I'll pay payroll and utilities as normal and bring those to the next board meeting.
The check comes out of the Fall Fest funds, right?
That's where it ends up coming out, yes. I mean, it's written out of the township
General.
checkbook,
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's,
And what was the one for the tent?
It was to Hillers, I guess True Value Hardware for $700. So that's at 50% deposit. So the total amount is $1,400 for the tent.
Do you know how much it cost last year? Is it about the same? I mean, I guess not.
And I don't have it, so if you don't have to approve it tonight. If you want me to get some information and come back to the next meeting, I can.
I mean, if that's what it costs, that's what it costs, so I was just curious.
I'm not sure.
So I guess your sense is that it's something we need to reserve.
That's the information that's been given to me by the secretary of the fire department, yes.
there is a couple places, I know that they do go out and acquire prices on this stuff, and I know that a couple of them already have all of their tents of that size already rented out.
So this is with Hillers?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't know they do that. Oh.
But again, if you wanna wait, I'm happy to do that.
If the motion is appropriate, I'm willing to make a motion to approve that check.
Mhm. And I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second to approve the check for Hillers for the tent. Any discussion?
Just as long as we get the information at the meeting.
So it'll be on your list of checks for the next board meeting with the supporting document. And I've received that already as well, so.
Since there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against say nay.
Okay.
Check.
All right, so, a couple of things I just wanted to make you aware of. So at the last board meeting, there was a topic that was brought up about compensation for the prior clerk and treasurer. And, we currently require timesheets for all employees or board members whenever they are getting paid. And when I was in position 3 years ago, even the clerk and treasurer did have to do timesheets. And so, as you know, the last board meeting, I think I had only been in position for maybe a week and a half, and didn't know that that there was maybe a change where the clerk and treasurer didn't have to submit timesheets. I'm not sure why, but anyway, so long story, so we didn't have a timesheet, so I didn't pay them. But I did send out certified letters, and I gave you guys copies of the letters that went out certified. The return notices were not, have not been sent back to the town, but these are the letters that went out. And I just give you a copy because then the next thing is there have been 2 notice of labor standards complaints that have been filed for the non-payment of the wages. And I have reviewed this letter, and basically all they're asking us to do, which we have intentions anyway of compensating them. I don't think there was ever an intent not to compensate, but they're asking us to just send the check, I think to the Department of Workforce Development, or at least a copy of it. Yeah, if you send a check made payable to the 2 employees to the Department of Workforce Development. That's how we would remedy this situation. But I did want you to be aware that we did get these complaints this week.
But we have not received any.
No time sheet.
So, the recommendation is, and Rodney and I did have a conversation with the attorney yesterday, and you guys have notes as to the conversation. But the recommendation would be whenever another employee is hired, so these positions are employees because they're appointed positions, that in the employment agreement or the contract or in your handbook, that it states that timesheets are required, or that you just kind of outline that. But because we don't have a handbook and there was nothing in the agreement, then, so I'll move forward with paying these when I run payroll tomorrow, unless anybody is in opposition to that, and then send the checks to the Department of Workforce Development. Okay, so then the next, let's see, then just a couple of updates, and I'll bring more to the next board meeting, but John and I did meet with a computer company on Friday for several hours, and the computer company's been working on our computers. I do have a couple of them back. As you can see, I'm using a new one tonight, but they're working on cleaning things off and restoring things, and our accounting software, so a lot of good stuff is going on. So just kind of wanted to give you an update on that, but we're still kind of in that interim phase where they're working on it. My email apparently has been fixed, so just an update there. I have put together the letter for the .gov website. Apparently, the prior clerk had done the same, but somehow the .gov email address did not get reserved, so I'm not certain what happened, but I do have a letter where it was sent last time, but so that's in process. I was able to get the Department of Treasury to remove the connection for our ARPA funds from the clerk email, and so then I have to reset it back up because it was tied to some authenticator app that we didn't have access to. So they have confirmed with me via email that they have separated that, and then I have to go back in and then connect it, so then I can set up my own authenticator. So that is in process. So that was due, I think, the end of April, but they have recognized that they're giving us time to get that done. And then my final thing before we move on is just, so in this, I was made aware that maybe we have some type of, I don't know that it's an ordinance or if it's a rule, but that any expenses have to be pre-approved. And so I'm used to clerks and treasurers and board members have a certain spending authority. That's what I'm used to. And so just wanted you to know I was left with no credit card. I don't even know where the clerk's credit card is at this time. And so I have been purchasing things with my own personal funds. So I'm making you aware if you're not going to approve that, then I will discontinue that. So these are minimal expenses that I have incurred. So a few office supplies, flowers for a funeral, and then today I was going to renew our Microsoft 365 account. Our QuickBooks has to be paid for, and we have nothing to pay for it with. So either I do it or we go without those resources.
So, is there any way we can cancel the card that we had and get a new one?
Yes, we can. I've just been working, yes.
Okay.
I've just been working through a priority list.
Okay, so is that something that supervisor can go to the bank and do that? Or do you have to do that? I'm willing to go down and do that. Seriously.
Sure.
You should not be using your credit card or paying out of your pocket.
That's all I have at this point.
I get that. But we can't have that. We have to do it another way.
The current credit card that we have, if it's the same account that was in place when I was here before, it's not through our bank.
Okay.
So I just need to pull a prior statement with a phone number and call and figure out what we need to do. So I'll have that for the next board meeting.
Okay.
But right now, the computer company that we're dealing with, I think they're going to take care of the QuickBooks thing, and then they'll bill us. And so there's nothing urgent, but I did want to let you know, I am making that known that, and I think my total expenses are less than $200, so don't think that I'm out spending money. But I, might not even be 150, but I just wanted to make you aware of that, so.
Let me know if you need help with that,
I will.
seriously.
I don't mind
yes,
using
can
my
we get a
personal
card to our
funds.
bank? I mean,
Sure.
would
No,
that
no.
be,
Yeah,
or not?
what now?
Can we get a card to our bank? Would that be
We
easier to
probably
do
could,
it that way?
yeah, we probably could. I don't mind it at the time, it's not a hardship, I'm just wanted to make you aware because I'm expecting reimbursement, so that's, but I will work on it before the next board meeting.
Do we need to make a motion to approve your reimbursement for those that you've already put on your credit card?
Maybe not tonight, maybe the next meeting we
Okay.
can, because I don't even have it, I think I
Okay,
have my receipts here, but I don't have everything, so.
Okay.
yeah.
That was gonna be my question, is when you request the reimbursement, you'll provide the supporting documents with.
Oh, yeah, I have all my
Great.
receipts, yes, sure. Okay. Let's move on. So we're on number 7, I think.
Well, that was
Part-time highway hires, employees.
Let me see where I have it. So, I talked to a person that said he is willing to actually be a part-time call-in person if we can give him a couple days ahead of time. And what I'm looking for is somebody to help Pat do these jobs so he can move equipment to and from these jobs. And this person is willing to do it, but if he could get a day ahead of time, 2 days would be great. He's sitting in the back room, I talked to him, he said this is something he'd be willing to do, Dave Swenson. And he has a name of another gentleman that he gave me today, and I am gonna talk to him to see if he is not available, if the other person can do this. So at this time, if I don't have to post something, because to tell you the truth, I don't even know what to post, because this posting is so bizarre. It's a part-time job. It's somebody literally waiting for somebody to call him for maybe a couple hours of work in a month. A day, a couple hours one day, a couple hours another day. I don't even know how to do that. I mean,
If we don't have an ordinance, then I don't think you have to post the position.
so I'm saying that we have somebody that'll do this, possibly 2. I did not talk to the second person. There's a good chance we'd have 2 people to help if we needed it. And so at this point, I'd like to just go on with what we have, if I can, or do I have to make a motion to accept Dave as being on call for a part-time position if needed?
The board needs to vote on, for when I was brought on, and
Okay.
I believe when other ones were brought on, the board needs to approve it, it needs to be a vote.
Okay, so,
Well, we have an agenda item.
Can I ask a question before you do that? Let's say Pat calls Dave and it only takes him 15 minutes. Are you gonna pay Dave a minimum amount of time? In my opinion, you should be paying Dave an hour for his time that he's gonna take. Even though it only takes him 15 minutes.
I'd agree with that,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. If you're taking the time to take that phone call and help the township, I agree 100%,
Yeah,
yes.
Call time.
no less than,
Exactly.
no less than an hour.
Yeah. Should I make that
1 hour
As
minimum
a-
time work.
Right,
as a
right.
You
motion
can make
then?
a motion that, as long as you have an hourly rate already in mind.
We had the rate of, part-time help.
I believe if you go back in your minutes, I believe it was.
It is in there.
15. Isn't that?
I was thinking it was like 14 or something like that.
I think it's at least 15.
But
Should be.
do I have to state that wage, or can I just state the minimum?
It's the wage.
Really? Okay. I'll do that at the board meeting. Can we put that on the agenda for the board meeting, please? Thank you.
$15 an hour.
That's what I
Is that,
It was in
Yes,
the-
that's what
it
she
was in the-
said.
is that for any extra employees, or is that just like,
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry.
because this is a
That was
highway?
the secondary one, that was $15 an hour for elected officials.
I don't,
I'll research
I
it.
don't
for,
think
for
that they-
highway and
I'm not sure that
I've
they,
ever paid any.
For highway, yeah, well, we had somebody part-time a couple of years ago that helped Pat. But I don't know that the $15 an hour is a competitive wage for a highway person.
We'll research it. I'll come up with numbers and bring it to the next board meeting. I'm sorry, I didn't realize we had to have it in there, so.
And we'll have,
Yes.
the interview process for the clerk and treasurer positions?
I do not.
My thought on this is, I mean, obviously the whole board has to go along with this, this is just the chair's thought. My thought process with this is that as we would be getting in applicants, that the clerk would vent them out. If there's a few questions or whatever, to ask them, to make sure that they're into that job position, that they understand what it is. And then have two board members interview the person. And then once those two people find the individual or individuals, bring it to the full board for board approval of, or decision of.
But you
Done.
created a committee to,
Yes. I was just
We,
looking
it
at
was not
myself.
it was not an agenda item at the last meeting. And we actually,
It is an emergency, so.
I really wouldn't mind having a committee do this. I mean, I agree with you doing the initial, but I wouldn't mind having a committee doing this myself. That's just my opinion.
do we have,
Versus-
I don't know what our ordinances are. I can't tell you what our ordinances are. I can honestly tell you though that I don't really expect any applications.
Okay.
I've received none.
Mhm.
So I don't know that this is really that big of a deal. But what we had initially talked about, but it hadn't really come before the board for a vote, I don't know that we have to, but, I was just gonna vet them to make sure that they met the qualifications that you had, you outlined, and then any qualified candidate would then been brought forward to the board. But then in the last meeting, what happened is somebody threw out personnel committee, and then people started signing up, or thought they were signing up, and we didn't have an agenda item to really talk about that. And then I started getting phone calls, because people started asking people to be on this committee, and it just, things went awry. This is a board decision, not a constituent decision. So I just think a decision needs to be made by you guys how you want to proceed. But at this time, I have no applicants, so we don't have people knocking on the doors.
I didn't look at it.
I just don't know if we have an ordinance. I don't really know if we do and what it says, so. We could hold until the board meeting if you want me to do some research, because I don't think we're gonna be
Yeah,
hiring anybody in the next 2 weeks. So
yeah. Do
I'll
that.
do research on that. But then, if we don't have an ordinance, then I would just ask you guys to be thinking about how you want to proceed, so. Okay. And I did provide you some comments, from the meeting with the attorney that we had about the clerk and treasurer position that you need to be thinking about, because there might need to be some type of enticement to be able to hire people to fill these positions. So.
Moving on to number 9, county zoning resolution for Galvin Fokar on behalf of K&B Storage LLC.
Can you elaborate?
We gave our report last month on that. We passed it. It's basically a name change. It's going from light industrial to commercial neighborhood.
Question for you, Dorothy. Now, they're going to commercial neighborhood. That's not anything that's on our map. Is that a new thing?
No, that's because it's up Highway 97. That was commercial neighborhood. That's what storage units are.
Okay, I'm just,
Yeah, because otherwise it was listed as light industrial. It was just a terminology.
well, I was just wondering why we can go to commercial or whatever, because some of them are listed commercial.
Storage units, they're commercial.
Right, but it's commercial neighborhood or whatever.
Right,
It's a
because
different
there's
phrase.
residential not down the road.
Is there any, like, what's the benefit to the change? Like, why-
It's the terminology is what changed because of our comprehensive plan.
Yeah. Oh, so because of the comprehensive plan that he's required to make a change?
Right.
Oh, okay. So I was gonna say, like, if there's no benefit to him, why would we-
It really has not changed anything
Yeah.
other than the term.
Yeah,
But
okay.
where those storage units are now, that's
Yeah,
all on lot
yeah, that's
one.
right where they are.
That's all on lot one.
But
Wasn't
Same
lot-
place, 97, and was it River Road, Riverside Road,
Yeah,
across the intersection there.
yep, it's off the corner of King and 97.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's on the south side of 97.
correct.
Yeah.
And we'll
So where the storage units are today, that was not considered commercial or was?
It was probably
Light
listed as light industrial before.
So it's just the verbiage.
I didn't know you had light industrial there. So I make a motion that we approve the change, right? That's all we gotta do.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve the zoning change resolution.
So is that Bob and John?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, the resolution would read,
Yeah, because the one resolution here is going to Frankfurt. That must have been
well, I
submitted.
have it right here. They sent me 2 packets. And so I had to pull this resolution out of the prior one that they told me to cancel. But it reads, well, it says I, Patty Ron Clerk, so I'll just strike through that. Town of McMillan, Marathon County, State of Wisconsin. Anyway, the resolution is, the Marathon County Board of Adjustment is established for the purpose of hearing certain appeals, applications, granting variances in harmony with the general purpose and intent of land use regulations. And whereas such a hearing is scheduled to come before the board affecting lands within the town of McMillan, now therefore be it resolved that the town of McMillan considered on the blank day of blank 2022, the application of J.L. Oberholzer for a conditional use permit for section 17.41.
Yeah, but that's a different.
That's different than what you're.
That's the next one item.
So then they,
I think
You're
they
on,
sent you
you're
the
on the
wrong
next one, you're
resolution.
on number
Because if you read I was reading through this earlier.
I think
So-
that's for the Board of Adjustment.
Yeah.
I think that's a sample one,
Oh,
Oh.
but, okay, so. So that one's for the 5/31 meeting, so, I can get them to send me an updated resolution. Basically, you're passing
Yeah.
that anyway, so I'll get it signed. I guess the, number 10 would be the one for tomorrow's meeting that has to be signed tonight.
Yes, so the resolution is wrong, but the
I
petition
have
is
it right
correct.
here
Okay.
for the one for tomorrow, the Oberholzer. So, you can pass that around. It was in the prior packet that they told me to cancel. Because they
Yeah,
had,
it's in here.
they had an updated application. Is that it?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay, is it in there? Okay,
Yeah.
good.
It's right behind Morgan's. So we have a copy of it. in the
Okay.
packet. Or I gave them one. You should too. I think your hand's on it, I'll go with previous one.
oh. There's a resolution for the town of Frankfurt.
They're in all the packets, yeah.
it's in there.
That you are seeing.
Okay, so the one for the rezone for Gavin Burkhart on behalf of PMB Storage LLC. So there is a motion and a second.
Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. Ayes have it. Resolution passed. Moving on to county zoning resolution for J. How do you pronounce it? What?
Oberholzer.
Oberholzer. The dog kennel, the meeting for that one at the county level is at 5:26. What? Yes. And the individual is in the audience tonight, so if you have questions for him, you can have him. Or if you'd like to make a statement to us, I guess, too.
We did receive a letter.
It's in, should be in the packet.
Yeah.
It is, it's here. And we did receive a letter, to go to the Board of Adjustment, or to us in the Board of Adjustment with a concern. We all should have that. Is that in here?
Yeah.
And the concern was, well, Rod, you have the letter. Do you have the
Do you
letter?
want to read it?
I have to find it here first. Okay, to whom it may concern, I'm writing this letter in regards to the application of the kennel boarding facility located at 209223 County Road E, Stratford. I am the neighbor that lives right across the road from this resident, and I have many concerns about it. My concerns are barking and dogs running loose. The concerns about the barking are that it will be constant and at house of the night when trying to sleep. We like to sleep with windows open at night in the summer, and it would be difficult to sleep if there is barking all the time. Some nights when I am outside, currently I hear barking coming from the residents already. I am not sure if they are currently raising dogs in the barn, as I see one dog going back and forth from the house and barn quite often when I am outside. If this would pass, I would hope something is put in place for noise control, even though it may not help. The next concern is the dog running loose around. I do have 2 dogs myself, and they're trained with a lot of time going around the boundaries to my property to ensure that they will stay on my property. If there are many dogs over there, who is to say that they will all stay on their property and not run across the road to my property like their current dog has a couple times already? I know in the letter it says a facility of more than, I think he means the letter, I would guess is the application maybe, a facility of more than 7 dogs. My question would be, if it says more than 7 dogs, but up to how many? I have heard that there may be a possibility of 100 animals on the property. And if there were to be that many, how can one possibly take care of that many animals humanly? I am thinking this will be a breeding building, puppy mill in parentheses, and not a boarding or kennel facility. When the residents moved in across the street and we had purchased 2 eagle statues from them, our dogs were outside when they came over and they said, "How many dogs have you lost because of being hit on the road?" To me, that is very concerning to not care about animals as they should be cared for. I may be the only one writing a letter of having any concerns to this, but to me, as a dog lover, I feel a kennel the size of the one they are building, 16 by 68 feet. From what the resident told me, when he told me that this letter and meeting was going to happen, is a very big building for dogs to be raised in. There have also been raptors for a building sitting on the property now for 3 weeks after he had approached me about what he planned on doing. I hope that my concerns are discussed and that other people can see the issues that I have stated in this letter. Thank you for listening to my concerns. Sincerely, Tyler Miller. He said to me when he handed me this letter that he said, "Wouldn't the barking of dogs be a nuisance?" And he said, do you have any ordinance about nuisances? And we do have, I looked it up. Do you have that copy with you? I left the copy
I think it was on the desk over at the top.
yeah, over there. But there is an ordinance that says that, in our ordinance, that if there is a complaint, and if there's 2 of them within 6 weeks, written complaints, then they'll have somehow or other, I guess it has to be brought forth and some kind of a decision made. So I am taking that letter to the county tomorrow for their consideration in the whole thing. So I think that, if since we have a written complaint, depending on how you feel about this, maybe you have questions for this gentleman as to what the plan is, and then if we feel that it needs to be documented on our resolution, we just have to write on here if there's any stipulations that we feel needs to be in place. That's the process. So, do you have any questions for this man? Is there really going to be 100 dogs?
If you page, that would be the max number. Currently, no, it would not be.
So is this gonna be more of a boarding facility, or are you gonna actually be raising dogs to sell, or?
Correct. The whole, you know, it will be for breeding.
So it's not gonna be a boarding facility? So what kind of dogs are you gonna be breeding?
Starting out with Shih Tzus, Poodles, Cavaliers, and Pugs. As far as numbers, we want to start with approximately 24 dogs for breeding stock. Kennel will be able to house 60 dogs in the exercise area inside and 20 dogs in the whelping boxes. Number of puppies will vary between 3 and 8 per whelping box. And that would be max
So
capacity.
24 dogs would be for all of the breeds? For your stock?
That is currently what we would be starting with. So in other words, that is what we would go from. This 100 would be the max in 5 years if we ever get. In other words, we're not purchasing 100. We're starting with 20, see how it goes. If we feel we can't handle more, then we stop there. If we feel we can handle more, we set the numbers accordingly.
Are you going to be selling this out of your home there, where you live? Your kennel is near your home, right near your home, correct?
Yes.
And how do you plan on selling them?
There's a handwritten letter in here, I think it spells out that they would be doing it via the internet. Right on here, it says advertising, no advertising on, I can't read that word, transactions. It says otherwise we'll use online outlets, i.e. Puppy Finder, Greenfield Puppies, or a print ad in the local paper.
Basically, it's, you can't really, it's not like a mill company where you can contract. You need to have something to sell before you can really, even of some sort that a certain broker will accept them. That would be the goal, is to sell mostly through broker. But they're not going to sign any contracts or anything like that until you have something to sell.
Oh, I see here.
It sounds like you'll be going after the state approval right away, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
So there won't be any employees then?
No, strictly a family project.
Okay.
Basically, want to provide our income at home.
And then there will be customers that'll be coming into the office area?
Yes, some, as far as how many, I really don't know.
Do you know if the building will be like, do you suppose you'll be able to hear the parking outside of the building, like from a far distance, like maybe because in my opinion, I didn't find a whole lot of facts necessarily. I mean, I thought there were a lot of opinions, but, you know, he's worried about barking dogs. I would be worried about, you know, if there's 100 dogs over there, I'd be worried about barking dogs too.
Yes.
But the dogs are gonna be outside for an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. And it sounds like they're gonna be outside goofing around with all their friends. So, you know, when my dog's out goofing around with his friends or her friends, there's not a whole lot of barking. You know, I mean, barking dogs are bored dogs that just wanna come inside and relax in their conditioning. So, but, you know, if they're all in the facility, I figure they might be doing some barking. I guess, I don't know what the whelping area is, but I imagine that might be like
That's where they have their pups.
oh, okay. So probably not so much parking in there because they want to keep.
If you go to your stack of papers, close to the back, just before actually it would be the last one, just before Sternwise and Sons paper. The hand drawn. A map.
Yep.
So, right there by the print, right next to it, I don't know if that's legible to you, but it says exercise/outside run area. That would be where they would be exercising, in that area. For that 1 hour in the morning and the evening, there would be at least a 4-foot fence in that area with a solid painted board fence on the west side, that from the road. Some of you might think there might be a pig in there or a cow. That from the road, you would guess that there would be dogs there, or when you drive in, that the dogs would not, you wouldn't hear anything barking. Also, as you see, that area that only covers about a little over half the structure. I didn't make it very clear in there, but so that fence towards the highway where there is no fence, that area will be a garage area. There will not be any dogs in that area west of the fence outside the structure.
So is the kennel, so on this one, it says that the kennel is 108 feet top to bottom. And on this one, with the interior view, it says that the kennel will be 68 feet top to bottom. So are you saying that there's gonna be 40 feet?
Of garage space.
Okay,
And that would be the 40 feet right by the driveway.
okay.
So in other words, the dogs will not, there won't be any dogs in that area. So when someone drives in, the dogs will technically be a minimum of at least 50 feet from any vehicle where you might park.
Yeah.
And inside a 6-inch dense pack insulated wall, all but 2 hours a day.
Yeah, after you started talking, I thought to myself, nobody's hearing my dog when she's barking in my house. Like, you know,
As far as
regretting my question because, you know, like, yeah, if they're barking outside for 2 hours a day, that's, I mean, I got a neighbor that their dog easily barks 2 hours a day. That's just what it is, so.
I don't think they're gonna bark all the time during exercise. We are intending to keep a pretty close eye on them in that period. So if there is a fight does erupt or something like that, when they are exercising, it will be under supervision pretty much all the time.
So this is a family project. You have a big family?
My wife and 2 children.
Okay, because you're looking at 24/7, 365. Are you thinking about if you guys are not home, there's gonna be somebody there to take care of these animals every single day,
Correct.
every hour? Somebody will be covering it on-site,
Yep.
okay?
Well, I shouldn't say 24/7. I mean, it's a little bit like your dairy farm.
You're a farmer now.
Right.
You're there all the time.
Yeah.
And that's my concern is that, okay, let's say you guys go up north for a weekend, okay? Obviously, you're gonna have somebody there to watch the dogs when you're not there. So somebody will be there, so if there is an incident or a complaint, that there's a contact person, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. There will be no dogs outside at any time during the day. And as far as, he mentioned something in that letter about the dog coming over the road. If it makes it any easier, we can find that one out. I don't have a problem doing that. Really, whatever it takes. So, feel free to ask any questions.
Well, what are your thoughts?
I guess I move to approve.
I guess, I mean, we are in an agricultural area, and it's really no different than a farm.
I guess we have some entire ordinances about issues that they, that would be one thing that I think we have to look at.
Well, I had those copies, I had it all planned out,
Yeah.
so, but they're over in the office.
That's my biggest concern is that
Yeah.
The barking, yeah.
neighbors, neighbors argue, and if somebody's not happy with it, they're gonna be
Yeah.
making those phone calls, so we know that this is a possibility.
So I brought up
We
the
have to be
ordinance.
very aware of this.
It says, "It shall be unlawful for any person knowingly to keep or harbor any dog which habitually barks, howls, or yelps, or any cat which habitually cries or howls, to the great discomfort of the peace and quiet of the neighborhood, or in such manner as to materially disturb or annoy persons in the neighborhood who are of ordinary sensibilities. Such dogs and cats are hereby declared to be a public nuisance. A dog or cat is considered to be in violation of this section when 2 formal written complaints are filed with the town constable within a 6-week period." It doesn't say what the penalty is.
It doesn't say much, but it just,
Right.
So, but the thing is, you can, under your comments here, when you look at your resolution, whether Marathon County of Adjustment approves the application or it denies the application. If you approve it, you can put some stipulations on here. And that's what needs to be done if you have a
Well,
concern.
the letter from the county actually says that. It says thoughtful, detailed comments illustrating the town's rationale and justification for their recommendation is appreciated. In the event of an incomplete resolution, the Board of Adjustments may delay a decision in order to return a resolution to the town to request more information. Please utilize the listing of surrounding property owners to inform neighbors of the town planning commission and town board meeting scheduled to review this application.
So what would you, if you, well, I cannot vote here, so you need to figure out what you want to put on here.
I think it's covered, I just wanted people to be aware that.
Yeah, based on what you read from the ordinance, I think we're covered in that regard.
We are.
I guess there's 2 concerns or things that I look at, and some of it's in the design of the way that this is, and maybe it's trying to head something off a little bit. The one thing is
Shielding the neighbor.
exactly, is actually of shielding the neighbor that is complaining, because if I look at the map here correctly, and if I've got the distances and where everybody is, the run for the outside dogs is going to be on the same side of the building as where the other resident is.
But the resident is to the west, across the road, across the.
It is west, but it's
The barn's still
also,
there.
on everything's on the south side of the,
Of the barn.
Yeah, it's pretty much basically right between the, almost right against the barn. Structure parallel, I don't know if you're familiar with the site. Yeah, parallel to the barn. So about 30 feet north, and it would be pretty much, the fence, to try and visualize it a little bit, the fence is pretty much start, like the west side of the fence would be almost at the end of the barn, going to the east. That's how far it would be back from.
is it a solid fence towards the road? I guess.
Even if it was, the bark's gonna echo.
Okay. I'm just also, it's also visual for the dogs, and sometimes if they don't see, they don't, you know. Just people sometimes driving in the yard is enough to aggravate. To make barking. I'm just, whatever we can do to try to minimize it the best we can without them spending huge amounts of money, but also being able to possibly operate this for years without trouble.
Are you breeding dogs right now?
About 3 of them.
What did you say?
About 3.
Three.
We've been doing it for about 3 years now, so we have some experience. Not just a terrible lot, but we started it, and my wife and I both like it, and we'd like to pursue it, so I don't have to drag off to work 10 hours a day.
Were there questions that the plan commission had?
He came and told us what he was doing, and it does fit into chapter 17. He does have 10 acres there. The gentleman is allowed to have a business. Nobody came forward that night. You know, the meeting was posted. And we're not in the business of public hearings. That's the board and that's the county. But no, I thought the gentleman answered all of our questions that night.
Did you have more concerns, Ryan?
Well, the only other concern that I would have with the individual, because that individual did talk to me also. One of the other, the deal with basically the evening hours or whatever. I mean, I don't know if it's too much to put some hours on the outside exercising. It doesn't become, you know what I mean? But the thing is, I also understand during the heat of the day, when we get the hot summer months, if you're gonna take the dogs outside to exercise them, you almost have to do it almost once the sun goes down, but I guess
Is the
it's-
building gonna be air conditioned, or is the building gonna be open during the heat of the summer?
I'm not sure yet as far as air conditioning. We'll see how it goes once we, according to the regulations of the state USDA, it can be no warmer than 95 degrees and no colder than 50 degrees.
So it'll be heated then?
Right, correct.
You're gonna have in-floor heat,
Right,
I read.
yeah. Pretty
So I
much.
guess one concern I'd have is if it would have to be open through the night, then that concern would be that you might have excessive noise in that 11 PM to 6 PM timeframe if the dogs were barking and the windows were open and you're trying to ventilate because it's 95 degrees outside and inside's probably hotter.
Right, no. I'm hoping that we can keep our temperature down using dehumidifiers, but I'm not sure. We are designing it with the ability that we can put air conditioning in if we need to. The windows will be closed pretty much all the time so that we can tunnel in the So it's not like, they're gonna be blowing all the noise right across the street out of our foot in the fans towards the east. And the windows will be closed most of the time, and cracking and everything like that.
Yeah, I think our existing, nuisance ordinance covers the concerns that I've heard. And I guess my concern would be the heat of the summer and having the building ventilated well, dogs cool.
Well, if they're just opening windows, that's gonna increase the noise. Maybe
For the most part,
attic
they're-
light, and maybe under conditions, you could put adequately temperature controlled.
So it's required by the state.
State requires it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to get involved with that.
Mhm.
I
No.
think the bigger concern for the neighboring property owners is
Yeah.
just the noise.
Okay.
I guess I make a motion that we approve the resolution.
With no stipulations?
I think
Our existing ordinances cover the concerns that I've heard. I don't know of anything we would need to add. Dorothy, would you?
I think, because the state regulates him closer than, evidently, than we regulate the research farm. I guess I didn't hear all these concerns when the research farm went in.
Mhm.
Right.
And there's a lot of cows bawl, we all know that.
Okay, we have a second.
A second.
Okay, a motion, a second to approve the county rezoning for the dog kennel.
With your, you need your comment on the bottom.
With the resolution, what comment on the bylaw?
About our ordinance, about the ordinance.
Our existing ordinance, you can put on here that our existing ordinance covers the concerns of noise or nuisance noise, whatever that term is. You know what that is, John, what it says? And that's our rationale for that.
So you can reference, Mill and Town Code 214-10. The title of that is Barking Dogs or Crying Cats.
Ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay.
I abstain.
Sorry, I was speaking through that, right?
Mhm.
Noted that, Tanya, that Patty abstained, or that Mrs. Opie's abstained. Okay. Ayes have it. Forwarding that resolution on to the county with the stipulation of ordinance
Town
number.
ordinance.
We also sign this then?
Yes. Just to check, they needed 3 people.
Oh, so I'll do it. Guess I didn't need to sign it.
Now, I have the resolution here, Tanya, in my packet. Does he have one?
Yes, I gave him. I
Okay.
gave him the resolution that I've already filled out, except I didn't check the box of approve or maybe Tom has it.
Tom has it right now.
Check. See my.
That was John's.
Mm-mm.
You had a number 11.
Yep. Okay, so in our last board meeting, we spoke about the Menards account, and I was able to get a listing of account holders for the Menards account, so I'll just read those out to you, and you'll just need to let me know which ones need to come off, and if there's anybody that needs to go on. So I have Pat Weigel, Kevin Steins, Adam Knapp, Tom Seifert, Lori Bauer, Rodney Bauer, Cody Bauer, and Ernie Lurby.
Kevin obviously needs to come on.
Okay? All right, any other changes?
You're gonna need to add Mrs. Opitz to that one,
I
she's
was
on
gonna
buildings
say-
and grounds.
Okay. All right, so I'll complete the form, and then I'll just have you sign it before I send it in.
Under new business, park pavilion, Mrs. Opitz?
Yes, we have, well, 2 people have already rented, and, I think we have 13 documented, and there's 3 I'm waiting to hear back from, 3 additional ones, so a total of 18, we have all of those, which is very good. The question that I have had asked of me is about, in the past, we have had that keypad where, you know, or where it was automatically opened in the morning and then locked up again at night. And people have voiced concern to me that if they come in the night, you know, the afternoon before, if it's not rented, they're allowed to do that, to set up, and yet it's open to the public. And they don't feel it's right to do that, so, I mean, it's up to,
But their rental time starts the next day and they come in a day early.
well, we've done that forever, you know, if it's not rented, they're allowed to come in.
But then the people are also, that's what I'm getting at, if it's open, I think the community has a right to use it. If they wanna come in early, isn't that? them
The only
coming in
reason they'd be
earlier?
using it would be for the restrooms.
Possibly, Yeah.
So,
or shade, or drink.
But if we're gonna rent it out to somebody and we're gonna give them the ability to set up beforehand, then we should lock it up for the night.
Then they should pay for another day then.
That's kind of what I'm getting at, and they're taking it upon themselves to come in early, okay, their rental is tomorrow. So I got off at noon today, so I wanna go set up early, and I can go in and start stringing decorations and stuff. But I don't know if,
well, that's the way we've always done it,
Oh,
is
we
that
rent
they
it
are
out
allowed
by
to
the
do
day.
that.
and I'm not saying they can't. What I'm saying is that if I went in early, I would accept the responsibility that something might be damaged or taken down or taken altogether. That's the way I would look at it, because I know I'm in there early. I'm not paying until tomorrow.
Yeah.
But just because I had time to go in there and do it, I did. But I also have to take that responsibility that something may, I mean, the doors are gonna be locked at night anyway, correct?
Yeah, but not
Right.
till 9 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
and there's not gonna be,
I know.
they're not gonna be in there decorating at 9 after that.
And,
So, anyway, there's the possibility that we could have a porta potty out here by the playground. I know it's been talked about before. And so I just did my homework and I called to see B&D, who does the porta potties for the Fall Fest, and asked them what they would do for us. And they said, because there's that road that would go right up to there, by the playground in the back. Because it's usually the kids that want the potty. And they clean it once a week. It would be $120 a month. They would empty it once a week and clean it. So it's whatever you decide.
Because the other thing out of it too, we have to keep in mind that too, is if we're renting it on a Saturday, that means at 9 o'clock, depending upon what time we close the pavilion, that means that somebody has to go to the pavilion and make sure that it's not messed up by anybody that was in it. And then if we say we open it at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, then that person that's renting it for that day, it's not secured either. Because that lock does not allow you to really lock and unlock it in that fashion. It's on a timed,
And we also have to make sure that, so I know, because like this coming weekend, they are coming, they wanted to come in, and there's like several, it's a big graduation party, come in the afternoon before to set up. And so then they have it on Saturday, and then there's someone else the following morning, which means I'm gonna have to be over there checking it out. Sometimes Saturday night, whenever they choose to leave. So, I mean, there's pros and cons, so.
I guess the way I see it, that if somebody's coming in early, they have to take the responsibility that something might happen.
Oh,
And-
and then you're not gonna have any, then you're not gonna.
Well, I'm not saying that they can't come in, I'm not saying they can't come in and do it. That's not at all what I'm saying. I mean, by all means, if they want to come in and preset, they can come in and preset. But they also have to take some responsibility for it too. I don't think that should fall on us, because their rental doesn't start until the next day. Why should we have to take the responsibility for them coming in early? That's what I don't get. They can come in early, that's fine. I just have an issue with us taking that responsibility for them coming in early. That's the way I look at it.
I agree,
And right or wrong, I'm not sure,
because
but.
they're getting the benefit of coming in early, you know,
Mhm.
and then, so, but they also are bearing some of the risk.
I mean, they're not paying for that.
But, I mean, like, I don't feel like anyone in the town's gonna, like, maliciously go in there and.
I would hope not. You know.
So if it were me, I'd be willing to take that risk, because I trust my neighbors that they're gonna not wreck my crap and just be a jerk. So, like, I would still come in early and put up my stuff, but, I agree that the party people have to take, it's on them, the risk is on them, whether or not the stuff gets messed up or not.
next question is gonna be ours
For the timer to go off,
then.
wasn't there a set time at like 9 o'clock? Wasn't anything set for that last year? I thought it was 9 o'clock last year. PM.
But every year we revisit the
Okay.
hours of.
Okay. Did that go okay? I really don't know if it, did that,
We just had a couple small instances of
Okay.
things being messed up and stuff, so.
okay. I would say 9 o'clock myself. As a kid, you know, and I don't know kids anymore, but as a kid, I was outside until after dark. I didn't want them to win.
Well,
But,
this is not gonna be, this is.
well,
Parents
that's,
bring up those, I mean.
I understand that, but kids wanna stay outside, that's what I'm getting at. You know, it's the parents bringing the kids that are playing out here. So, I don't know. I think 9 o'clock is, if we did it last year, I don't think 9
If it
o'clock
ain't broke,
is,
don't fix it.
I agree.
Do you know what the start time was?
I do not remember what the start time is, it was set.
9 to 9?
Yeah, seems reasonable.
Is there a certain period of time, like from June to September, or is that just from now on?
Last year we closed it, I know the opening it up is basically what we're discussing tonight, it's what happened in last year. But the closing of it, as soon as we turned the heat on,
It was weather
it was closed.
dictated.
Yeah, I would think Labor Day, Memorial Day to Labor Day,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
because that's when kids are out of school, parents wanna go do things. After that, kids are in school, people get busy, you start getting cooler nights, cooler days.
It's a good idea.
So Memorial Day to Labor Day makes sense.
Right, and then the last item, I'm gonna talk to most of you, but as I get voicemails, I will text those to you or email those to you, so if you have a preference, let me know. But if you could just send me a response back whether it's text or email saying, I took care of this, so I can mark it off my list. I'm just getting repeat callers saying, nobody's called me back, and I still have this issue, and I'm just having to go through those emails, or those actually it's a voicemail coming through an email. And so for highway stuff, then Tom, should I send those to you then? And then you'll communicate to Pat or whomever, okay. And then Carolyn Pavilion, we had a lot of recycling stuff because of that tire weekend when I first started, but that was, I didn't even get the messages until after that weekend, so.
Well, the schedule that came out back in January,
Well,
Deb had screwed it up, cause on the bottom of that calendar, she had the 23rd.
Sure.
Didn't realize that the last Saturday was actually the 30th, so she made the mistake.
Yeah,
And you put it in the newsletter that went out, that it was the 30th. Then everybody was saying, well, it says the 23rd on the schedule.
sure.
So I got half a dozen calls myself. Well, Rodney got several.
Yeah. And so what about the, fire number signs? So we have a current issue right now with one, where the homeowner has moved in and they still don't have their fire number up. I know Rodney, they drove by and spoke to Rodney the other day. I've spoken with the wife.
Isn't that a county?
So we get the signs from CPZ, and usually how we would handle it is if it's not here, if Pat doesn't have it, it's not here, that we would have to call and order a new one. So I don't know if that's something that you want me to do, if that's something that.
I'll follow up on that. I'll just get with you with the information.
I did drive past there the day, I did not see it. Pat thought that he'd put it up,
Okay.
but when he had put it up, that was pretty early in the building process.
Okay.
So as things move around, and it does look like they did move some dirt around on the property, so it might have gotten back over, or something happened to it that way,
Okay.
that the homeowner wasn't even aware of, it might have gotten gone. It was not laying in the grass or anything, so we will probably have to, and I've not heard anything back from them, but.
Yeah, they're pretty anxious about it because they want to get their, milk, I don't know, the wife, and she was very nice and very pleasant, but they really are anxious about getting this up in their yard, so.
So, I mean, I guess.
So there are companies that will make reproductions of them for landowners. So when I was in the UP, before I moved back here 5 years ago, they have them at the fair, a lot of the fairs, the guys will be there, and you can give them your fire number, and they will make the sign for you right there.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of people did that because they wanted one, a second one, for whatever reason.
But their first one needs to be the blue
Official.
approved,
Yeah.
right?
Right,
So that
and these
basically-
are blue approved too.
Oh.
These guys are making signs that are duplicate, and you just pay $20. It's cheap,
Yeah.
and they make it right there on the spot.
So the address is 201390 Deer Run Avenue. And phone number 715-495-6005.
You have a name of that?
Semecha, Semeecha, that's what I understood on the voicemail. And I spoke with her, I don't know the husband's name, Rodney would have spoken with him, but, so we would call, Preston, I think is his first name, at the county office. He handles all that, and I think it's like a 2-minute phone call and you're done. They send it out right away. I don't know where the post office delivers them. They might sit them against the side of the building. I don't know.
One of 3 places.
One of 3 places, okay. So, okay, all right.
So my recommendation, Tom, is just touch base with the county over there.
Yeah.
Directly right away, because I did tell them that they could call contact the county and say, hey, it's gone, it's disappeared, whatever. We need another one, and then I said that, I did tell them that usually they mail them, send them to us, and then we reinstall them, so.
And usually that should be our responsibility to call the county just because we're responsible for putting them in and receiving them, but.
He was so anxious, he had to have something that day, so I gave him another phone call also, so, I mean.
Give them something, right? Okay.
Is it?
8:13.
I got something, yeah.
I was gonna say, Mr. Bogart's back here, so maybe he has something to say.
You have something?
On that, Shell Rock bid that you guys accepted from, Red Rock, I'm running this through my mind, and that, the language of that bid that, Tom read, it's my understanding that they're using pit run granite in lieu of Shell Rock, unless I didn't listen close enough. It's not sand.
Shell rock sand fill, that's what it says.
But didn't it say something about granite to start with?
Pit run granite / pit run granite.
And that's granite, that's not sand. Shell rock sand and pit run granite are two completely different things.
But what I'm taking from this is, this price is for either one of those two. Shell rock sand fill / pit run granite are $8.63 per ton. That's the way I'm taking this. Would you not take that way? That one there.
Well, they don't have pit run, they don't have shell rocks sand in their quarry, I don't know why they do. I think that means in lieu of, but.
Yeah, I guess when I would read this, I would agree that it says shell rock sand fill / pit run granite. I don't know how you would make sand with granite.
Did you have the pit run granite before the shell rock sand?
No, it's after.
Okay.
We can call on
We
it,
can clarify it.
we can clarify that. I'll clarify that for you. I'll give you a call back, okay?
But if you still need, if you're gonna dig out a road, the breaker run, the 6-inch dirty breaker run is still cheaper than that sand, so.
Okay.
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 Just FYI on these permits, it's by truck too, so you have to have a plate number for the truck. Just so you know.
You know how many dump trucks we have?
Yeah, I know. I'm just telling you, I lived it 5 years ago when I moved here.
I don't think that's
why I'm on the board.
I don't think that's I don't think that's necessary to get that, to have an ID for, if we fill out one of them forms, you're gonna get 21 license plate numbers on them, on that form.
If it's an annual permit, you could just attach the list of all of your plates. I don't know, it's just an idea. If an annual permit gets approved.
Are you gonna do that annual permit then for anybody that's gonna be hauling in? Because I personally, I ordered from Earth when I ever order gravel for my yard and stuff like that.
I guess my recommendation would be the ones that get the bids. But we'll talk
Because
about that at the next meeting.
I like getting my stuff local,
I get that,
yeah.
yep.
And they've got.
I didn't write the zoning ordinance, the ordinance that we have. I don't
We
totally
didn't either.
agree.
They have to have the number of the truck, so I mean,
I think
The
a lot of
homeowner
thought
can
has to
call,
go into this, because
but
I
still
don't
need
think
to-
it's fair for just the ones to get a yearly permit that have successfully got the bid. I mean, we have contractors and guys that are doing this stuff all over, and they hopefully bid the next year. And sometimes for some of the residents, they actually get better rates than they do other ones. And so I don't think we can just go with the ones that get the bids. I mean, we need to vet this out a little bit and go through this, so. I seen your concern on that one right away, John, but I'm also with that, I mean,
And we have 7 line trucks, and they're not required to have license on, so then you're gonna have to use an ID number.
yeah.
well, with the lime trucks, well, usually that's for the farmers.
Yeah.
So that falls underneath, that's their permit that they run with.
Mhm.
So that would be different than your lime trucks.
Then there's 4.
Is that tagged?
Then there's 4 low boys, so you'll have 4 more license numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I know.
That wasn't a
It can be hard and it can be easy.
I know. It needs to be fixed.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll try our hardest.
All right.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Good night.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion, a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? Since there is none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Against, say nay. We're adjourned. I guess not. A couple of them left, Lori's over there.
Okay, who has the resolution? I need to scan that.
Oh, yeah.
But it has to be, can you add that about with the, our ordinance down there on that line?
I'm gonna give you a copy to take with you, because I'm gonna.
Oh, yeah, I need 10 copies.
Oh, thank you.
This is the one that stayed sealed, in case anyone did that.
Okay, perfect, sounds good. I'll send out, letter C to accept.
Yeah, it's me.
Yes, sorry, I just. No, I'm thankful that she considered it, I knew she worked during the day, so. I was just asked.
I mean, that's what's, why not?
I was just